Hey guys, did you know that you can use computers to automate pretty much anything? It's pretty exciting, right? I don't know. I think I'd rather play a nice game of chess.
Shall we play a game?
Hello everyone, my name is Adam and I love movies. I grew up in the 80s and 90s and the nostalgia of those times will always stick with me. But sometimes nostalgia can cloud your vision of things. So come with me as I go through the movies I swear all my life I've loved, and let's see if I can still see the magic that I once did. This is Adam's Retro Rewatch.
I look like a streamer now. Join me on my Twitch channel to watch me play video games. I don't have a Twitch channel, and well, I do play video games, but you don't want to see me do it. But anyway, check out the whole mic rig. This thing's cool, right? I can just whoa. I got my little blue snowball here. It's not even blue, but it's called a blue snowball. Hello everyone, I'm Adam, and this is 1983's War Games. It's categorized as a thriller, which I guess I could see, but it's much more lighter than you would consider a thriller. It was more like a young adult thriller, I guess. If young adult was a category in the 80s, that's what it would be. It's about a teenager in 1983 who decides to hack into a video game company to play new computer games that are coming out, and he unknowingly hacks into the government military missile command. Oddly enough, he's not playing Missile Command. When I was a young boy, when I was a young warthog, I say around 4 or 5, I was really into this movie, mainly because of the computers, the video games. There was even a scene with dinosaurs. You have to see the movie to understand. But as I grew up, I kept watching the movie, and I would see more and more cool stuff about the film. Mostly the characters, the acting, the character acting, the sound effects. They were cool little throw-in sound effects from arcade games. But watching as an adult, I could see that the writers wanted something more serious, and the director, John Badham, who also did Short Circuit, wanted something a little more lighthearted, and we kind of got this mishmash of serious and light thriller, but it's also, a pure 80s thrill ride through nostalgia. Before their time in Ferris Bueller's Day Off and The Breakfast Club, Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy played David Lightman and Jennifer Mack, respectively. Lightman was a kid, like I said in the beginning, he's a kid who loves his computers, and he hacks into his school computer a lot to change his grades. And that's how he becomes friends with Jennifer. She offers him a ride home, and he offers to change her grade in science, which they're both failing. So that's where the budding friendship comes from. And the whole story revolves around him being obsessed with this computer company, and he hacks into this military computer called the Whopper, home of the Burger King. Wait. Strike that, reverse it. And the Whopper, what it does, it's basically an early artificial intelligence that spends its entire existence playing Cold War scenario games. It also plays regular games like backgammon and chess and checkers to, teach strategy. But its entire purpose is to play these games, and when the real thing happens, to set in motion automated nuclear missile strikes for real. But David doesn't know that it's a game until it's too late, and then the government finds out, and they pinpoint him, and he becomes an enemy of the state, and that's where the thriller part comes in. But luckily it's the 80s, and everything can be solved by playing a video game. Well, it's it's tic-tac-toe. It doesn't have to be a video game. It could be played on paper, but an AI can't play things on paper. So it's a tic-tac-toe battle until the AI understands that losing is also an option. And that's basically the gist of the film. It's a pretty solid movie. Most of the acting is well done. There's some weird humor, like one scene towards the beginning of the movie. David comes home and his parents are watching TV. They're watching the news on TV, and there's a small little news blip in the background that if you're not paying attention to the background, you won't hear it. But there was a news report of a fire in a prophylactic factory, and that's strange and kind of funny. That's the weird humor that's in there. It was also the first time I saw the game Galaga in a pop culture setting. So prominent. He plays it in the beginning of the movie. There's even a moment in the movie where the NORAD computer plays the new game music jingle for Galaga. So it was kind of cool to see my favorite arcade game get like all of this fanfare. But the one big thing that I've noticed as watching an adult is that everyone, except for David's parents for some reason, everyone is just mean. Everyone's a jerk to each other. I mean, David, the main character, the one you're supposed to, root for, he just basically emasculates his biology teacher just so he could get sent to the office to get the password to hack into the school's computer.
Maybe you could tell us who first suggested the idea of reproduction without sex.
Your wife?
But it was such a harsh joke that you would tell in school and high school. Everybody's a jerk. Ali Sheedy's character is a strange amalgam of a character. She's supposed to be, the love interest of the movie, but there's no natural chemistry because it's like 2 days. They're like they go from classmates to friends to best friends to inseparable soulmates, I guess. I don't know. But she's so all she does is ask inane questions to further the story's exposition. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even connect to her character at all. It's just like, what does trajectory mean? After he's said the word trajectory, I can't even say the word trajectory. I'm having a Roman moment. She asks, what does tragic Terry heading means? And he says he doesn't know after he, was trying to, he thought it was cool that they're setting the trajectory headings. And in one breath, she can go from giving David, the best advice possible for his damaged psyche of him being chased by the government, to being vapid and asking about her best friends and how she looks and all strange things. She's a hyper shrill character that I've grown to dislike more and more as I've grown up. But it's not just the kids. Dabney Coleman plays Mr. McKittrick. That's really hard to say. Dabney Coleman plays Mr. McKittrick. Hey, I got it right. Who is credited for making the AI, and he's just as jerk as anyone else.
I don't have to take that, you pig-eyed sack of shit.
He's mean to his bosses. He's mean to David, who he's trying to, connect with to try to figure things out, but he's still trying to be that harsh, authoritarian adult character. So you can't try to relate and then be authoritarian at the same time. The army general, played by the great character actor Barry Corbin, he acts he acts like an army general, so he's a dick. So that's correct. But John Wood, who plays Dr. Stephen Falcon, the real creator of the AI, he's supposed to be this eccentric, soft-spoken, very scientific, empathic character, and he just hates these two kids because they got on his land and tried to bother him after he faked his death. And okay, so he's kind of a jerk for some reasons too. I don't know. It's just it's a story about kids and adults being jerks but some of it's justified. And that's really the only issue that I had rewatching the movie as an adult, was the people are just being mean. Some justified, some unjustified, but it was just strange. It was a strange thing to get hung up on. Also, as an adult that feverishly watches movies and studies them and looks for different things and people and stuff, there are some cool cameos in this movie, including the first Hollywood appearance of Mr. Mr. Blonde Madsen in the very beginning, in the opening scene. It's a good 5 minutes of him. Another noticeable small scene was Eddie Deason, straight from Grease 2. I think they released like not even close to a year apart from each other. So he plays a computer lab technician named Melvin. Kind of fits because he's just Eddie Deason playing himself. Also, there's a really quick blink and you'll miss it cameo from William H. Macy. He actually gets a line towards the end of the movie. That was really cool. I didn't even know that until I looked it up. I was like, that voice sounds kind of familiar. So I looked it up and it was William H. Macy. So keep your eyes out for those people. So the big question, do I still love war games? Yes, I absolutely love war games. Yes, it is another 80s movie from my childhood that I will not give up on. I will not. The rose-colored glasses stay on for this movie, and mainly because it's an 80s movie, and it's another product of its time, but it's a tech movie. Most movies that involve the technology of the time stay that way, and that's kind of what's cool about it. You get to see, giant you have to use two hands for the floppy disks. That they weren't 5 1/4. I mean, 5 1/4 you could use one hand. These were huge. They went in like a file cabinet type of thing. It was cool to see that, and like just the giant pieces of machinery that we all know in just a few years they would start shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and becoming more and more powerful. This movie definitely gave me the nostalgia of the going to the arcade. That pulled on my nostalgia heartstrings a bit. That first scene when you see David for the first time and he's playing Galaga in the arcade before school. That was really that hit me right in the 80s. Hit me right here. This thing is 80s and across my chest. That's a new tattoo idea. Just say 80s. That's stupid. Never mind. So yes, this is another film from my childhood that still holds up in my opinion. It's got life lessons. It teaches you that breaking the rules have consequences. That automation can be both a blessing and a curse. And maybe the most important lesson.
The only winning move is not to play.
And that's war games. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Also check out our podcast on cinemadnesspodcast.com. Thank you for joining me. And again, I wonder, what am I going to look at next?
Mr. McKittrick, after very careful consideration, sir, I've come to the conclusion that your new defense system sucks.